So, welcome to Tamil Travels. I just wanted to give you an information about the flight travel ban between UK and India, which Indian government have proposed on the identification of a new COVID strain. So, Indian government have decided to lift the temporary ban between from 8th of January, and they have instructed a new standard operating procedure between 8th of January and 30th of Jan. So, according to this new standard operating procedure, the travel ban will be lifted between UK and India. So, the certain airlines which are already approved to fly between these two countries will be allowed to operate, but they will be operating a limited schedule or service. So, according to the ministry websites or Twitter handle, so I think there will be only 15 flights per week between UK and India, and these flights will be spaced out like the reaching time or the arrival time between these flights will be carefully planned so that there will be a large time gap for the passengers to clear the immigration or arrival formalities. So now let's look at the conditions or criterias which are required for a traveler to be able to travel between UK and India from 8th of January until end of January. So in order to travel during this period, so Indian government have mandated that the passenger has to carry a RT-PCR negative report before boarding, and this test should have been taken 72 hours before your flight departure time. And the airline will ensure every passenger who is boarding the flight has this negative RT-PCR test result available. So this is going to be applicable for all the airlines, irrespective of any country. So Air India, British Airways, Vistara, Virgin, SpiceJet. So whichever airline is allowed to fly between UK and India, so they need to ensure in order to travel from UK to India, the passenger must carry an RT-PCR report. So on arrival at Indian airports, so I believe at the moment there are only certain destinations which has been listed as arrival ports like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and unfortunately Chennai is not there on the initial list. So we are not sure if it's going to be added later on in the week. So, on arrival, all the passengers will be then subjected to a further RT PCR test. So, this one they have to pay from their own expense and then take a test at the airport. So, I think the airport authorities will arrange for that. So, I think until the tests come, the passenger will have to wait at the airport, and only if they get a negative test report. So they need to wait for the test results to come. So if the test result comes negative, the passengers will be allowed to go for home quarantine, and that is mandatory for 14 days. And when they are in home quarantine, the health officials and any other department from the state government will be making visits to make sure the passengers who arrived from UK are at home and they are not going out, and they will establish contact, and they will do test and trace, making sure they are not going out, or they are following the process, and they are not having further symptoms or showing any symptoms of COVID. So, in case if the passenger tests positive on arrival, there are two criteria in here. So, the first one is if the passenger tests positive for a COVID, which was previous or which was earlier in the year, then they will be subjected to home quarantine provided they are asymptomatic. So again, the home or the state government authorities will be visiting you and making sure you guys you don't develop any further symptoms and you follow the home quarantine rules properly. So in case and if they are symptomatic, for example, if the passengers who tested positive for the old or the earlier COVID 19 strain, and if they show symptoms, they will be taken to a necessary, maybe institutional quarantine, or to any medical facility, and they will be treated there. So, what happens if a passenger arriving from UK and who is testing positive for the new strain of new strain of COVID? Then they will be taken to an institutional quarantine or to a isolation ward where they will be monitored, and they will be monitored and probably further tests taken, and only will be cleared to go once the test result comes negative. So these are the new standard operating procedure, which has been announced just a few, probably half an hour or an hour ago. And so any passengers who are planning to travel between 8th of January and 31st of Jan, so they need to provide RT-PCR negative test before boarding, and on arrival they will be taken a test at the airport as well. So the central government as so recommended the passengers fill the Air Suvidha self-reporting form, so which will collect all the details of their home address and past travel history and all that, and all those information will be shared with state governments and the health departments and the surveillance department. So if you get a call from a police or CID or any health ministry team, so don't be surprised. So all the information which you have provided in the Air Suvidha self-reporting form will be shared with probably a lot of departments, and they will make sure the passengers who are traveling will be following home quarantine rules very strictly. So that's the latest update, which has been just furnished by the Ministry of Health and Family Affairs. So I've just provided the link for that in the description below. So if you want to have a look, please feel free to take a look. So I'll be monitoring the post, Twitter feeds and government websites, and if there is any changes or any updates to the standard operating procedure or the travel ban or travel advice, so I'll update you all in another video. So until then, thanks, and speak to you all in the next video. Thank you.